Well, we've talked to a lot of people this morning who have obviously shared different angles of what the Battle Within does on Veterans Day as they help first responders and veterans right here in Kansas City, help them with PTSD. It's so important. And Tori Oldani actually went through the program. She is a veteran. She went through the 5-day program. She's also used the Frontline Therapy Network. Tori, thanks so much for being here. And if you could, take us through how you got to the point where you realized the Battle Within can help you with what you're dealing with.
Yeah, thanks, Pete, for having me on. The Battle Within was a phenomenal program for me to go through, and I actually found out about it through Dale Duncan because my sister works for him, or worked with him. And Pete, I can't even tell you how amazing Dale and Megan Duncan are and what they've been through. And them giving me the opportunity to go through the Battle Within was huge for me. I had been struggling for years and years in my military career. And I was a little nervous about going through the program, right? You feel a little apprehensive when you're showing up in a city that you've never been to and you're going to be with people that you don't know and sharing emotions and feelings and what that's going to bring up for you. I was really lucky to have my sister go through with me as the witness, which was fantastic for me to have that security blanket and person that I did already trust and love with me in the program. And it was a great 5 days. It did a lot of healing for me, being able to be around other women who had been through similar traumatic experiences and knowing that I wasn't alone in it, and the camaraderie that you pull from being vulnerable and open and being able to heal together. And it opened up tons of doors for me. And I felt empowered after going through the 5-day course. And I felt like it was okay to share my story. And since then, I've been sharing my story in the hopes that it helps other people be able to come forward. Rape and sexual assault is a huge problem in the military, and it's just not widely known because it's an embarrassing thing for people who've been through it. You carry a lot of shame and guilt, and nobody wants to talk about it. But I don't feel like we're going to see significant change until people are open and honest and vulnerable and raw and get these feelings and emotions and experiences out there so that other people can also come forward. And so the Battle Within was that first stepstone for me to really feel like I could open up.
Tori, as a veteran, what can you share with us on your story? That's maybe different from what male veterans and first responders deal with. That makes this unique for females who, let's be honest, most people probably don't think about that. They're more likely to think about the rough and tumble and rugged guy going through this. But there's a lot of females that go through this program as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I served for 15 years and I drove small boats for my first 5 years in the Navy. And then I worked with the SEAL teams for the last 10 years. And I always worked in a predominantly male atmosphere. And I didn't really get along with chicks very well because I just didn't have that same mentality usually. And, for me specifically, my PTSD is not from war, even though I did do combat deployments and I did see things and got knocked around a lot and have, traumatic brain injuries, and there's a whole slew of things that go with it. But my PTSD is from my own quote unquote brothers who I should have been able to trust and rely on to have my back that sexually assaulted and raped me. And the feelings that come with that, right? And the damage that can do to a person are just tremendous. And I never talked about it. I didn't want to talk about it. I stuffed it down for a long time, and it started to really just affect everything in my life. And I still do struggle with it, but just knowing that there are other folks out there who've been through similar experiences, and we can start rallying together and heal together and come up with a way forward on making like these instrumental and critical changes in the military to make sure that this doesn't happen, because it's a different type of PTSD, right? Like when you get PTSD from being in battle or being in war times, there's a clear line when you're overseas of who is and who isn't the enemy, and you get to come home a hero, right? When you have PTSD from the war, and you can talk about it, even though it's probably extremely difficult for people. But when you have PTSD from sexual assault and rape, you don't get to come home a hero from that. You don't, you don't get the medals and the valor that comes with PTSD from war specifically. And I felt like the enemy was everywhere. I felt like I couldn't trust anybody. I started to have really bad anxiety issues. I would have a hard time even just coming in and out of work. And I ultimately lost my career over it. And when we were in the battle within and we were talking about, what we've lost, and it dawned on me that I'm losing my career because of the actions of a few men, right? Mm-hmm. And that was really, really a hard pill for me to swallow. But the connections and the love that was shared in the battle within, and still is, I still am good friends with a few of the girls that went through with me, and we've been able to, openly talk here and there. When we're struggling, we have that support. And they've also, Frontline Therapy has also now helped me in getting in to see a really good therapist and psychologist, which was really needed for me. I didn't want to see another military person. I wanted to see somebody out in town that would give me a different perspective, and that I felt like I could be more open with. That's been huge. It's made such a big difference for me in my recovery, and I couldn't be more thankful for both of the programs.
Now, on that note, Tori, as you look at, getting into the Frontline Therapy Network, what was that like for you? How did you come about it?
So I had reached out to Adam Majors, who's just another phenomenal person that I'm extremely blessed to count as a friend now in life, that I met during the battle within. And I had told him that I, really wanted to see a good Jungian therapist, and I didn't know, where to find the best one or how I would even pay for it, because now I am medically retired and the income is pennies compared to what I was making when I was active duty. And he told me that, Frontline Therapy would get me a good therapist, and they would also cover the cost of it, which was just, I started crying when he told me that, because I've reached out to so many different nonprofits for help, and I haven't had any luck with any of the other ones. And Frontline Therapy, is now paying for me to see this Jungian therapist. And it's been really good for me to know that there's a program out there that is really genuinely there to help you out and get you the needed therapies. And I'm stoked about it. I'm still seeing the therapist, and I really like him. And it's just been very helpful for me.
Well, Tori, thank you for sharing your story with us. We can't thank you enough for being here and all you've done, though. And thank you for what you're doing for sharing the story at the Battle Within.
No, thank you, Pete. I appreciate this opportunity.
There, it's Pete Mundo. Thanks for checking out the show that we flip into a podcast for you to enjoy on your own time. If you could do us a favor, leave us a rating, a review, subscribe to the podcast. That helps us out a lot. We appreciate that. We appreciate you, and enjoy the show.